Think of the person who knows your history, your fears, and your passwords. Then imagine that same person becoming a total stranger the moment you actually need them to stand by you. We live in an era of massive digital networks, yet we face a severe deficit of genuine character. It has become easier to project a supportive persona on a screen than it is to actually possess loyalty in real life. When an insincere person gains this level of access to your life, they can cause far more damage than any external rival. They have already bypassed your defenses and now operate entirely from within your blind spot. To protect your future, you need a system. We are going to run a behavioral audit, a psychological framework of 10 observable red flags and active tests designed to unmask a fake personality before they can strike. The first metric of this audit involves observing how your subject navigates hierarchical social situations. Look for a sharp contrast in their behavior. Notice if they offer extreme, eager politeness towards someone who holds authority, like a boss, while showing baseline disrespect towards someone they consider beneath them, like a waiter. This is hidden agenda flattery. For a fake person, respect is a transactional strategy to buy leverage. This creates yes men who agree to your face, but dismantle your reputation when you leave. Their loyalty is just a performance. You can measure a person's true character by watching how they treat those who possess no leverage over them. The second phase moves the investigation away from how they speak and focuses entirely on how they perform under a minor obligation. You can verify someone's sincerity by deploying a small favor pressure test. Contrast their massive, unprompted verbal promises with their actual willingness to handle a small, real-world inconvenience for you. When you ask for that favor, a predictable sequence begins. Your calls go unanswered. Your messages are left on read. The person who promised to always be there is suddenly entirely unavailable the moment a tangible effort is required. When finally confronted, they will use their ultimate defense, the victim card. They deflect accountability by framing your simple request as an unreasonable burden on their own sudden, fabricated stress. Genuine individuals speak cautiously, but act with consistency. A friend who only appears when the timing is perfect is simply managing their own convenience. Next, we pivot to analyzing how the subject processes attention and public perception. A person with internal confidence lets their results do the talking. A fake personality, however, operates with a desperate need for external applause, broadcasting every minor accomplishment to secure validation from the crowd. You can spot this in group settings through conversational hijacking. If someone else shares a success, the fake personality will reflexively override the moment with an exaggerated claim of their own, effectively consuming the spotlight for themselves. This relentless compulsion to center themselves is often a visible sign of deep-seated internal insecurity. The final diagnostic is the most revealing, analyzing their unfiltered reaction to your personal growth and success. Watch them closely when you achieve a victory. You will often see a distinct friction between the congratulations they voice and the actual resentment visible in their eyes. This triggers a mechanism called diminishment. To neutralize their own jealousy, they will attribute your hard work entirely to luck, timing, or external connections. They have to make your success seem accidental, so they don't have to face their own lack of progress. A legitimate ally possesses the psychological capacity to celebrate your elevation as a win for the team rather than a threat to their own worth. By applying these tests, you gain a psychological filter. Flattery no longer looks like a compliment. It starts to look like data. Consistency acts as a persistent filter. While a person can manipulate their words in the short term, maintaining a fake behavioral pattern over a long timeline is mathematically difficult. The gap between what they say and what they do will always reveal the truth. Stop evaluating people based on the impressive things they promise to do. Begin measuring their worth entirely by their observable, unprompted actions. Audit your inner circle, distance yourself from the validation seekers, and invest your loyalty in the quiet individuals who provide. When you are experiencing immense success, wealth, or high social status, you naturally attract a massive, ever-growing social circle around you. This volume of people creates a powerful sense of security. You assume that because so many people are present, you have a deep and functional support system. Then the environment changes. A sudden business failure hits, or a personal setback strips away your external resources. Suddenly, the behavior of that crowd shifts. Calls go to voicemail. Messages remain unread. The people who were once omnipresent now lack any interest in understanding your new reality. The actual value of a social circle reveals itself when you have nothing left to offer. 1,000 acquaintances provide less real security than the one person who stays when the resources dry up. Distinguishing between a genuine supporter and a toxic actor is difficult when things are going well, but it is possible to identify them before a crisis occurs. Toxic friendships follow a predictable 3-phase timeline: the illusion phase, the sabotage phase, and the crisis phase. In the illusion phase, connections appear strong. However, this strength is deceptive because it hasn't yet been tested by friction. Waiting for the crisis phase to test a relationship means the truth only comes out during a disaster. Observing microcracks during the sabotage phase provides a way to evaluate a friend's character before the stakes are at their highest. Inauthentic people don't just reveal themselves when you fail, they also show their true nature when you succeed. When you set an ambitious goal, they often respond with senseless discouragement. They tell you your plans are unrealistic, or remind you how many others have failed, attempting to talk you out of your own growth. This reaction is driven by psychology. As progress climbs, their insecurity spikes. They struggle with your movement, highlighting their stagnation. Authentic friends show the opposite. Their reaction provides foundational support, pushing progress higher, treating success as a shared point of progress. Your progress acts as a mirror for a fake friend. They look at your achievements and see their own perceived failures reflected back, creating a defensive need to pull you back down to their level. The second major test for any relationship is conflict, specifically how a person handles the direct demand for accountability. For an authentic person, an apology is an indicator of maturity. They take responsibility for their mistakes because they value the relationship more than their own ego. Toxic individuals often refuse to accept any level of blame. They rely on shifting the fault to external circumstances or portraying themselves as the victim to avoid facing their own behavior. This cycle is known as gaslighting. It involves taking an objective fact, like a broken promise, and distorting it until you begin to doubt your own perception of the event. If you confront them about an issue, they might ignore the broken promise entirely and instead criticize your unreasonable expectations. This redirects the conversation away from their actions and onto your reaction. A person who cannot admit they were wrong lacks the primary mechanism for self-improvement. Without that capacity for growth, they cannot maintain a healthy long-term connection. You can also evaluate people through their daily communication habits. For inauthentic people, gossip is the primary social currency. There is a consistent pattern here. If someone willingly gossips to you about others, they are likely gossiping about you the moment you leave the room. Authentic communication stays on a different track. It focuses on future plans, on constructive ideas, and personal growth. There is a clear distinction between these mindsets. Small minds focus on people. Average minds focus on events, and great minds focus on ideas. Default conversation topics provide a map of a person's priorities. Choosing to discuss ideas rather than individuals indicates a focus on progress that gossip-heavy communication cannot replicate. Toxic and inauthentic people are a reality of life. You will likely encounter them in every professional and personal phase you enter. While you can't control their existence, you have total control over their proximity. You decide who gets a seat at your table and who stays on the periphery. Surrounding yourself with authentic people changes your trajectory. They act as mental scaffolding, challenging you to improve and supporting you when you fall. Your social circle eventually acts as a blueprint for your own development. The quality of the people you allow close to you dictates the person you will eventually become. Prioritizing the quality of your social circle over its size transforms your daily environment and your long-term mental health. Look for individuals whose loyalty is consistent, whether you are in the room or not. Ultimately, the best way to attract authentic people is to model that behavior yourself. Real change in your environment begins with your own character. Have you ever had to distance yourself from a toxic friend or noticed these patterns in someone you knew? Share your experience in the comments. It might help someone else recognize the signs. If you found this breakdown of relationship psychology useful, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more